Hi everyone. I want to give you 3 tips that you can use if you are going through some kind of horrifying environmental disaster. I'm just going to get right to it. My daughter lives in Marina del Rey, in the Santa Monica area of California, which as of this recording is right on the perimeter of some of the worst wildfire conditions that California has ever seen. And the photo she sent me last night just made my hair stand on end. As a mother, it's just so emotional to know that your child is possibly in harm's way. And these are the worst conditions we've seen in January, according to the National Weather Service and others, with a combination of dry conditions, really historically dry conditions in Southern California, and the Santa Ana winds, which is a natural phenomenon but can be exacerbated by climate change. I went to college for a year in the San Bernardino area of California, so I experienced those kinds of winds, but not like what they're having today. And in the past few days, 100 miles an hour, and some of the video, which I'm sure some of you have seen, it like somebody said, it's like hurricane conditions, or worse. You see the embers going sideways instead of rain from hurricanes. It's like the embers, and of course they're catching on to nearby areas. And so I am just hopeful that she is safe, she and her husband and his extended family. And others that I know. All of this is just so disconcerting, no matter where you are and no matter what connection you have. Maybe it's more personal, like mine. But the first thing when I woke up early this morning was just worrying about my daughter and her family. So the one thing that I just want to say, tip number 1, is connect, either directly by text or in social media. Even though we may have mean, nasty things to say about our particular social media platform of choice. Nevertheless, for most of us, it is free, and it is a way to stay connected either in groups or one-on-one through the various messaging apps. When I went to the gym to work out this morning, trying to take my mind off this, of course, all the TV monitors were set to this, and I'm seeing even more intense, crazy videos. I think the most amazing one I saw, the most amazing photograph, was somebody who was on a plane that was diverted from the area where the fire was most central to LAX, Los Angeles. So he was south of the fire, and you could see the shot all the way up the coast, and it just looked like the whole coastline was lit up. How my daughter is not in harm's way, I don't know, based on some of the videos that I've seen. But she went on the beach and took the picture that you'll see in this video, and I'm just going like, how is this not going to spread to where she is, especially given the conditions? But your brain goes to the negative, and I'm trying really hard not to focus on that. So tip number 1, try not to focus on that. So much easier said than done. So in addition to staying connected, however you do that, take some kind of action that takes you physically away from a place where you are thinking about it. Like for me this morning was going to the gym, even though that didn't work so well. The next thing I did is, I know that we're having company for dinner, so I am, other than taking time out today to do this video, I'm going all out and making my best, most delicious, it hasn't even cooked yet, apple crisp. This is in my book, Eat Vegan on $4 a Day. Very simple recipe. It's just cut up apples and oats and sweetener of your choice, dates, raisins, a little bit of coconut sugar, which is not supposed to be bad for your glycemic index, and your blood sugar. So you don't even have to peel the apples. Just throw it in there. Just do something that is healthful, and not like eating Cliff Bars, which I also have been doing lately. So I am just being brutally honest with you. Cliff Bars are a terrible thing, a terrible rabbit hole for me, and I just try to keep those in moderation to 1 a day. I have given up coffee again, just because I was feeling so terrible, even though our trip to Costa Rica, we saw these amazing coffee farms. It just was not good for my body, and I've had a love-hate all my life, and we are now in the hate portion. But do something that maybe focuses on others. And this brings me to point number 3, when you're dealing with stress and dealing with emotional situations like this, where you are focused on how to when you feel so powerless and maybe family or friends are in harm's way. Take a moment of gratitude. For me yesterday, it was that I was able to spend a little more time at home with my babies when they were young. I'm not sure it made any difference to them, but at least it made me feel better that I was able to be there for them, and have tried to do that throughout their lives. And just being able to volunteer for an organization where you are getting no other reward other than helping someone else can sometimes take your mind off of yourself and your own doubts and concerns and nervous Nelliness and all of that might otherwise kind of lead you down rabbit holes of stress and just when there's really nothing you can do, especially from a distance, other than to offer love, help, support. That's just about all you can do. So focus on trying to do what you can do, accepting what you can't do, as the saying goes, and be productive however that looks like for you, even if you don't get paid for it. It's just a way that you can try and be there. I just want to close by saying too that another part of what I'm doing is remaining vegan, because it's not only for my health, but it is also for the animals, of course, and most importantly, the planet, which encapsulates all of us. The United Nations and others have said the number one thing you can do to reduce your carbon footprint is to give up animal agriculture and to eat plants. And the more I get this message out there, I can't tell you how often, as recently as yesterday, I got confronted with, oh, you can't sustain yourself on a vegan diet, with my physical therapist. And there we are having this discussion about how, look at me. The reason I'm having physical therapy is because I've been sitting too long. I need to be out and running again. And oh, by the way, speaking of global warming and trying to prove that vegans get enough, this weekend was my 312th 5K or longer age group award, this one in Brandon, Florida, just north of Tampa. Still doing all this running and racing to show that vegans get enough protein and energy and everything else to sustain themselves and to do whatever it is we want to do. And if it's better for the planet to avoid these or try to minimize more these catastrophic events, then it's why wouldn't we do it? And I'm doing it for my children and their generation and the ones after that will have to suffer the consequences of us not being able to connect these very important dots between the environment and what we put on our plate 3 times a day. All right, everyone, gotta run. See you in the next one.